Well, welcome today, traders, on April the 3rd, and we're doing a presentation on procrastination pros and cons, because most people think there's just cons to procrastination, but there are actually some pros to procrastination. And I did that because we're at that time of the year where procrastination becomes very evident because of our taxes, because a lot of people will procrastinate on their taxes and not take the steps that they need to do to get them in on time, and then the clock is ticking. So that was one of the reasons that I picked it, although I'm not talking about taxes in the presentation. I just did want to remind you that taxes are becoming due. Okay, so let's go forward. So I've entered some good pictures for you on this presentation. Do I have to go now? Okay, so that's our puppy procrastinating, that he doesn't want to go outside in the cold weather, in the snow, or maybe he does. Okay, here's another procrastination on people's diets. Is this the real meaning of a diet? Did I eat that? This is the real definition of what diet is. Diet is one of the biggest things that people will procrastinate on for a lot of different reasons. This happens to be a large thing to procrastinate on because it's something that we have to do all the time. We have to eat. So if you want to do a diet, procrastinating on changing your diet is challenging because you have to eat food, and you have to do specific steps. And if you're used to things and you're used to different tastes and flavors, and you have to switch things around for health reasons or for because you want to lose weight, you want to just get healthier, it takes some work to do, and you have to take certain steps to get that to move forward. So dieting is actually a big place where procrastination falls true. So procrastination, the pros and cons. As you know, this is my background, and I'm just going to work through that. Okay, procrastination, good and bad. Like I said, I started reading a bunch of things on this and realized that there were some good aspects of procrastination that could come out of it, and some bad things if you procrastinate. So we're going to go through a list of what they are, what causes procrastination, and then how you attack procrastination. Okay, the good. One step to getting over procrastination is to take that first step. So David mentioned earlier that his wife does procrastinate. And one of the first things to attack procrastination is taking the first step, taking action, doing one thing, and then moving forward. That's the very first critical step in getting things moving, is taking that first step. So these are the good things about procrastination. Initially, waiting to do something could be good, especially if you're trading. Sometimes waiting to increase your size, you're procrastinating to do it, may be a good thing, because maybe you're analyzing what your trading is about. You know you want to increase, your goal is to increase size, but you're still readjusting things. So, it's a good thing to procrastinate and wait until you're ready to increase size. Changing markets. Maybe one market is not working for you, and you've been procrastinating looking at a different market, and you got a little bit lazy, and you just get a little bit bored looking at one market, and you haven't shifted to another. But maybe that's good, because maybe the other market's not doing anything anyway, and you really don't know how to read that market yet. So changing to something foreign maybe would have hurt you. Any managed delays. So a good thing may be that you're managing the delay, and managing that delay is creating a good outcome, that if you rushed into it, something bad would happen. So if you managed the delay, or you procrastinated on something, it ended up having a great outcome as an end result, and that's okay. The delay, in the delay, there is a time to reflect to plan, observe, and think through things. So as you're procrastinating, other things can pop up, more data, more information, and you can make a totally different decision. So again, taking that little lag of time or procrastinating can give you additional data, and maybe that in turn turned out that you made a better decision. So, have you ever gotten to a situation where you rushed into something and you said, oh, if I just had waited a little bit longer, it would have had a different outcome? Or if you procrastinated and you said, boy, it's a good thing I didn't do that, because if I had done that, I would have been in a lot of trouble. If I had done that, something bad would have happened. So there are times where good things can happen in the delay or the procrastination of an action. Okay. When you have your procrastination, it helps you to prioritize and to avoid unnecessary tasks that can spring up out of rushing into something. So sometimes if we rush into something versus procrastinating, let's say if we rushed into our taxes and we did them too quickly, maybe we missed some items that we didn't put into our taxes that could have been deductions. So we would have missed or prioritized that priority to put in those numbers, and that would have helped us in the long run. Now we got to go back, then we got to file an extension, or we got to file an exception or make an adjustment to what we did because we made the error. Allows for carefully thinking through the information to make calmer decisions. So a good part of or byproduct of your procrastination, you're kind of thinking about it all the time, aren't you? You're thinking about it all the time. It's like, oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And opposite of the worry, which is the bad part, the good thing is that you're thinking through your decision. Say, oh, I didn't think about doing that. Like if, Don's doing his presentation next week. So now he's thinking about it between now and then. So in that thinking time, maybe something will come up where he's a little bit calmer, and he'll go, oh, this is what I should put into my presentation to get my point across, instead of rushing to do it like in one day and get it finished for Wednesday. Maybe he'll take a few days to work on it, and all of a sudden a great concept will come out that he missed that will help him in the presentation. Allows for the mind to wander more into creativeness and a creativeness process. So by you having that time to think, your creativeness in your mind has a time to evolve and grow with the things that you're looking at. As if you're working on a project, working on a marketing thing, a marketing project to get some information out, and by procrastinating on the outcome of that, I'm now getting some ideas of some things that I want to incorporate in that process of marketing that will make it even better, or give more clarity when I do bring it out to the public. So again, your creative process and juices will go during that time of procrastination. Creation of a variety of new solutions. As you work through procrastination, sometimes you'll hit obstacles and new solutions will become available to you. It allows for you to get other things done, but they may take you off track, or or the wrong things if rushed. So if you're procrastinating and then you fill that spot that you should be doing, let's say your taxes, instead of doing your taxes, you're going to really do detail clean on your car in the garage. Well, that's good, and you got that thing done, and that's come off your to-do list, but you got off track, and you were completely off track. We all have these to-do lists, things that you must do. And sometimes when we procrastinate, we tend to fill procrastination with other things from our to-do list. And then this way we don't feel guilty that we did something else. Well, I didn't do my taxes, but I did do the detailing on my car. And then if you do the wrong things, if you rushed, if you rushed and did something, like I said, you rushed and did your taxes and found that you missed some items on there. I'll come out maybe tomorrow. Okay, that's the cat procrastinating. Okay, this is the bad part of procrastinating. Okay, nothing is so fatiguing as the eternal hanging on of an uncompleted task. And you all know what that's like. You're holding on to a task, you got to do it, you got to do it, you got to do it. Every day you're thinking about it. It consumes your time. It consumes you when you wake up. I've got to do it. Today I'm going to do something. Today I'm going to do something. Then it gets to midday, you never did anything. Gets to the end of the day, you never did anything. You go lie down to bed, oh, I didn't do anything. I got to do this. I got to do this. I do that. And it's just so time consuming. So it does get very fatiguing. It does have a physical attack on your body when your mind is thinking about all the things that you have to do that you didn't do. And so it does get very exhausting. And so this is the bad girl, the police department. Procrastinate, the bad things. This can lead to poor performance by not applying oneself. So I'm going to relate some things, related to trading. When you have a plan in your trading of, let's say your overall plan is to get increasingly better in your trading performance, and you have a list of things that you want to work on in your trading performance. And by not applying yourself to attacking that plan of performance, then you miss out on possibly better trades, increased income, increasing size, increasing your portfolio, your bottom line. And so by not applying yourself to a plan, attacking your performance can lead to you having not as good a performance as you could possibly have. And I believe that you all could have amazing performance. Create higher levels of stress while the task is incomplete, always thinking of what has to be done. And so that's why I'm saying you're consumed by the thought that it hasn't been completed. So if you're trading and you have a trading plan and you're going to attack the performance and you had a bad trading day, then you're going to reflect back and you're going to say, oh, I meant today to focus on my entry, working on my entries and working on the criteria for my entries, but I didn't do any focus on that. And look, I did the same exact mistakes and repeated them over and over. And tomorrow I'm going to focus. Tomorrow I'm going to go and I'm going to focus on my performance, and I am going to focus on my entries, and I'm going to focus on my criteria for my entries, so that I can get that done and not have this be an issue again. So a lot of times the issue that you want to overcome, you're going into avoidance to not do it. And there's reasons that you're not doing that. You're going into avoidance. And so that's what you want to uncover. Why is it that I'm not attacking my performance plan? And what do I have to do to reverse that? Builds and generates negative feelings. So when you don't do that and the person didn't address their performance and didn't go to fix it and didn't work to fix it as part of their plan, they procrastinated, then they're going to have negative feelings about themselves. Oh, I didn't do it again. I'm so lazy. I don't know why I'm doing it. They generate just all sorts of negative feelings. And I've talked about negative feelings before. We tend to lean into negative feelings easier than we lean into positive feelings. It's just in our nature. We gravitate to the bad side more than the good side, the good things that we did. And I've been working with a couple traders this past last week, and one is an attorney on the for his regular job, and he trades on the side. And he clearly leans to the negative. And what it has, what that's done is he's actually, it's affected his trials, and he leans to the negative side, thinking that he can't overcome, what he's litigating. And so we're shifting that all around. So we tend to gravitate to the negative versus the positive. So you've got to be careful, because procrastination creates a perfect environment for those negative feelings to grow. And you don't want to do that. You want to fight that, and you want to work to move forward. It leads to an absence of making progress and achieving higher goals. So if you want your performance to increase in whatever you want to do, if you want to get your taxes done, if you want to get them off the plate and just feel that relief, then you don't want to be procrastinating, because it's not going to allow you to get there and to finish your goals. Putting off and then rushing has a tendency to generate a poor end product. So if you're waiting, and then all of a sudden you get a deadline to do your taxes, then you could be missing out and making some errors than if you took the time and did a little bit every single day. And so that's a way to to really mess up what you're doing and not cover all the things that you need to do. So looking at your trading plan, you want to cover all the details. Maybe break apart your trading performance in segments, your entries, your management, trade management, and then your exits, and look at all the pieces within those 3 sections and work on those as increasing your performance. Maybe look at your performance and decide your rating. Maybe rate those 3 areas, and within those there's risk management, the size, your technique, your indicators, and measure in each of those sections how you feel you're doing with that, and what you could do to change that to increase your performance. Procrastination is usually a result of a hidden fear. And this is the big part of this. Almost every procrastination that everybody experiences can be gotten down to a fear. So David, with your wife, it's going to get down to her fear. So if you can uncover what her fear is, then that's the first objective to overcome. And when she gains her confidence in that fear, then she won't procrastinate the next time she has to do that. So overcoming the fear that's holding them back in the moment, that's causing the procrastination, is a way to push through procrastination, because they're afraid to make a mistake if they do take the action. So they're going to hold back as much as they can to not take action because they don't want to fail. Continuous procrastination can increase the workload or the to-do list, adding to the stress. So when you're afraid to do something and you have a fear and you're procrastinating, and you have the to-do list of doing the taxes, that's on your to-do list, and then something else came up and you have to, somebody asked you to send in a letter to somebody because they needed something on your doctor bill, and you procrastinated on that because you had to do some digging, and the digging was in the files, and the files were in the taxes, so that was holding you back. The taxes, the information in the taxes were holding you back to do the letter, and now all of a sudden you've added another thing to your to-do list. So as you continue to procrastinate, you have to be careful, because your to-do list can start to get really, really big. And that's just going to add stress onto your list. And then that's when you start doing some silly things like doing the detailing on your car, and you do things like, oh, I got to clean the floors, or I got to do something insignificant because you just have to feel that you've accomplished something. The possibility of making a mistake can have an effect on your self-worth. So people don't feel good if they attack something, and they're, somebody's going to tell them they didn't do a good job, or you didn't do it correctly, or you didn't give me the right information, or God forbid you have to do it over again. You did your taxes, you handed it in, but you're missing this whole part, and you've got to do this thing over again because this is incorrect. So procrastination, again, can lead to some stress that, oh my gosh, I have to do it again, and it's got to go back on the list. So that can really stress you out. Takes up mental space and creates physical pressure. Every time you have things on your to-do list, start procrastinating, adding to the to-do list, creating the stress, it creates physical pressure in your body, physical pressure. And pressure in your body creates all sorts of things, creates stomach acids creates ulcers. It has a physical reproduction in your body when you start getting stress from the things that you're thinking about, that you've been procrastinating about. So if you want to stay healthy, a way to convince somebody to not procrastinate and say, come on, we got to get healthy here. That's just causing you too much stress. You don't need to be stressed out. Let's just attack one thing or another. Let me help you through it, or let me get you started with it, and let's go to it, and let's just get it done. And then you'll feel good about it. Okay, the main causes of procrastination. There are about 4 main causes of procrastination, and the first, or the biggest one, is the fear of failure, and we've been talking about that. This can be deep-rooted from past experiences of failure or from bad results that people have had when they tried something. Fear is comforted when you add procrastination. So the fear goes kind of away. It's like a little blanket that covers over fear when you procrastinate. It makes you feel better temporarily, but it's only temporary, and it only buys you a little bit of time until you have to face that challenge again and really attack it. It's the mind's way of managing that fear. And so fear of failure, or fear of moving forward, or fear of what you're going to get to when you have that goal, or what you're going to experience, maybe it's the unknown, will cause you to go into procrastination. Well, if I don't know what I'm going to experience and I procrastinate, well, then I don't have to deal with it. But if you attack it, then you can just have an open mind and say, I'll deal with anything that gets there, and we'll go through the solutions. So solutions of attacking that fear, especially when trading, it's important to try to work through new ideas and techniques. You can reduce size, you can go to sim, focus on the outcome of your results, and know each failure gets you closer to perfection and can be fixed. So Don's got all his things working, except his aggression has slowed down. So he's got to work on that new outcome right now to get his aggression built up again, because he was laid back, he was lying on the beach, he was having a good time, and now he's back in the throes of things, and so he's got to get back in the game. So that's what he's got to work on. And so when you attack and focus on that outcome, then you'll start to see results, but you have to identify it first. There is always a new solution, a tweak to it. So if you adapt the attitude that there's always a solution and a tweak to what's going on, then you will find it. Feel good about doing it and learning rather than no action at all. So instead of procrastinating, any kind of action towards your goal, any kind of action that moves you forward, even if it's just a teeny bit, feel good about. Don't beat yourself up that you didn't do it maybe wholeheartedly, but if Don, you get a little bit of aggression tomorrow and it was more than today, then you're on the right track. You're starting to get back to yourself. And so, you don't beat yourself up in that situation, because sometimes things take a little bit of adjustments, a tweak by tweak by tweak, and tweak it a little bit day by day, and all of a sudden you're back to normal. Excessive perfectionism. When you have a high expectation to always have a perfect result, you may hesitate and not take action if the result may prove less than what you normally expect. So if it proves less than what you normally expect, then you may not address it at all because you're such a perfectionist. The challenge is when venturing into something new and different. And again, it stems back to the failure. So if you've been a perfectionist in the past and you're always used to a high level of success, and you venture out into something new, a new market, a new style, a new technique, a new level. If I have this when I run into traders who are short traders. They only short. They love to short. They never go long. And so when they venture out to go long, there is a huge mental challenge for them to get over that procrastination, because they have that hesitancy, because they had perfection in the shorts, but they had no perfection in going long. So they're in uncharted territory and they have to build that. So you have to go step by step and have, again, first a plan, how you're going to attack it, and something that you see that creates your certainty in that moment that you're going to go long if you've never gone long before. And again, so you want to be able to be flexible and read the markets and not be stuck into one pattern or another, going short all the time or going long all the time. Worrying that you will maybe look foolish, having had a perfect mindset in the past. So people that have perfection in their past also are afraid to look foolish. I don't want to look foolish if I lose at that trade. And so I'm just going to stay with what I know, and I'll procrastinate and I'll not take a long because I'll just wait for the short to come about, and I'll just do it that way. Afraid to venture out because they're holding on to their ego. When you are afraid to go into uncharted territory, you could be holding on to your ego, that your perfectionism is so strong that you don't want to take the chance to try something and venture out to really move through it. But the key thing is moving through it. So taking the first step and just trying it. You have a high standard that keeps you trapped by the fear of failure. So your high standard of being perfect is now keeping you trapped in the area that whatever you're procrastinating in. And so again, that's your comfort, your little blanket there. That's your security blanket, your procrastination. But you want to move through that. Let it go and just take your first step. Solutions. Always have a target to do your very best. All you can do is your best. You can make changes as you go, but you can do your very best. Decide up front that you will be happy with whatever outcome you get, as long as you've learned something and move forward. Whenever you have a small tweak to your situation and you accomplished it and did it well, then make sure you give yourself credit. Do not beat yourself up because you didn't maybe hit your ultimate goal, but you only had a small win. Small wins build over time. Small wins will get to your major goal. So don't minimize your feelings for making small wins. Very, very, very important. Begin to accept that there is no such thing as a perfect job, and you did your very best. So you're not going to go into something new and do it absolutely perfect the first time. You're going to make mistakes, but who cares? It's okay. You ventured out into something new and maybe you learned something great. Maybe it was a market that was better suited for you. It was a better fit for you. And it was something that you trade better, gave you a better opportunity. Maybe just try it. I can't tell you how many people have told me, oh, I didn't even know that market existed. I didn't even know. I had people that were, fairly on the new side. New traders, I always guide them to the euro because it moves slower and it's easier for them to move. And they go, "Oh, I didn't even know if it was there. If I had known that, I would have started trading that years ago." Okay? So whenever you go out and you try something new, you may find it's the best place for you to be. If working with someone else, realize that each person has their own unique standard of perfection and will most likely be different from yours. Learn from that too. Everybody has a different standard of perfection, a different level that they adhere to, and their rules are going to be different than your rules. You can solicit their rules from them. You can learn those rules from them. Don's in the room giving you his rules. Your rules could be different. I don't know. Your rules may work one way, his rules may work another way. So massage those rules one way or another, a little tweak here and there. One may make it better, one may make it worse. So realize that everybody has a different standard of perfection. Okay, low mental energy. When energy levels are low, you will not feel like doing much of anything. Okay, so if you're a couch potato, if you start getting very sedentary and you don't start moving, your thoughts change dramatically. There's actually a routine that people go through to be depressed. They sit down somewhere, they sit all crunched up, they don't move around, their heads are down. It's usually in darkness. There's a routine that the body will go into to move towards depression or move towards not doing anything. And that's where low mental energy can lead to, and you don't want to go there. If you want to do something, accomplish something, you have to move. Feeling sluggish, lack of sleep, unhealthy lifestyles, all these will contribute to laziness and not taking some sort of action. If you want to get kids to start doing something around the house, you want to get people moving to take action, get them moving, physically moving. Non-motion can create negative thoughts. So if that person's in a crunched position, sitting in a chair, they'll generate more negative thoughts than they will positive thoughts. But if you get out and you move them, then they will change. I had a client in New Hampshire, and she had some mental issues, and I worked with her for about 3 years, and she was an amazing child. She was an adopted child, and everybody had given up on her, and she was doing all sorts of things. Well, when I first met her, she went into a lot of trauma, and she started pulling out her hair, hitting her head against the wall. I mean, she had some mental challenges, and I don't have a degree. I don't have, a psychiatry degree or anything like that. But what I knew was if I kept her in that spot where she was, she got worse. She got more stressed. And she started going into a routine that she knew she was feeling comfortable, and she would get people to change when she got very stressed. So I took her and her mother out, and I walked her. I walked her all around the complex that I was in. By the time we finished, she was calmed down. She was communicating with me. Her mother was in shock. She couldn't believe it. She says, "What did you do?" I said, "Nothing. We just walked her. She has all this pent up energy, and when you try to hold her back, she's like ready to explode. She just can't take it. So you got to move her." So we did, and it worked. Well, it turns out that, I worked with her for a couple of years. She did fabulous. She now has an apartment. She has a job. She's done amazing things. And it was all from that first day. And this mother always thanks me. She says all these other professionals had her isolated, locked her in rooms. Every time she was bad, they would hold her back, and she needed to move. People need to move, so you got to move. So solutions to procrastination here is to work on your healthy diet, get enough sleep, and of course do some exercise. Motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion, and that's what I did with her. I walked her, and she burned off that extra emotion, and she actually calmed down. Positive thoughts come from moving. She started thinking more positively. She communicated with me, and it was like watching a miracle. It was really amazing. So I know this stuff works. Make the necessary changes to reach your goals one by one. Don't take on a full list of things to do at one time. Break apart your performance strategy in pieces that are manageable and easy to accomplish one by one. Don't do the whole picture because you'll go into overwhelm. And you don't want to be thinking of too many things at one time. You're looking at markets and charts and motion and trying to make decisions from one place to another. You have enough going on in the moment that to create focus in your trading, you want to break down those components so that it will be easier for you to isolate and get very specific. I have this one attorney that I've been working with, and he says, I've been to all these people that I spent all this money on classes and this and that, and he really he really put me through the paces when he signed up with me. And I asked him last week, because he's doing my 30-day program, and I asked him this week, I said, well, am I different from the people that you've spent a lot of money on? He says, oh my God, you're totally different. And I said, well, what makes me different? Because I don't know what other people are teaching out there, and I don't know the difference between what I'm doing and what they're doing. He says, no, you're the real deal. He says, there hasn't been one thing that you've told me that doesn't make sense and that I can't relate to, or that I feel that I want to challenge. There's not one thing. He says, and also what I realized was all these little, you've made me break down the trade into components that I never looked at before. And he's been trading for 10 years. He says, I never looked at these pieces of my trade before. I never saw these particular levels or these particular things in my trade, and I'm now seeing, and I'm now managing the trade much better. And he's sending me his results, and he's managing the trade much better because we have those components in a manageable place in his head, so he can look at them and he's focusing on the specifics. So breaking it down into specific areas really does help. Positive thoughts come from moving. Make the necessary changes to reach your goals one by one. Okay, lack of focus. Procrastination usually is filled with feelings of directionless, or that are directionless. So lack of focus. If you think of the whole big picture and all these different things moving, you're not going to have any direction or focus, and that's not going to give you the results that you want. Lack of purpose and goals, you're drifting. So without a lack of purpose and goals, purpose gives you the fuel for you to do what you want to do. What is the purpose? Why are you doing this? Do you know why you're doing this? What is the real reason that you are doing this? If you have a big enough reason why you're trading, a big enough reason why you must fix it, a big enough reason why you must reach the goal, then you're going to do it. But if you have no reason why you're going to do it, then you're not going to do it. you're just going to drift and you're going to do other things and you're going to, look at the trade and you're going to get stuck when the market doesn't move. And we got so stuck there for a while today. In the last couple of days, we've been just so stuck in these ranges and wouldn't do anything. It was just, getting crazy in these sideways, stupid 2-point ranges. So, when you have those kind of days, it gets kind of boring. But, well, that's the time that you want to break down your trades and start looking at, addressing performance issues if you can make things better. There is no target to work towards. So having the target, having maybe, some people don't like financial targets. I think not everybody should have a financial target, but I think some people need a financial target because that's the way they measure it. And so when you have a financial target and you make that financial target, you're going to feel much better. You're going to go to sleep that night and you're going to say, oh, I hit that target. I feel really good. I've been trying to hit that number for the last year and I finally hit the number. So having a financial target sometimes does work for you. You have to decide. Everybody is different. Lack of effective goal setting to achieve outcomes. If you don't have goal settings on what you're going to accomplish, then you're not going to achieve any outcomes. So you want to look at your outcome and kind of work backwards on how you get there. So some of your solutions to do that on your lack of focus is design a set of attainable goals. Set a sign of attainable goals. And the word there that's important is attainable. Set yourself up for success. Don't set up goals that you can't succeed. You don't set a goal for $1,000 goal in the day when you can't make $1,000 goal in a day. So when I have people setting dollar goals in the day to get them moving in a forward direction to lock in profits, sometimes I start them really small. I said, set a goal for $100 a day and lock it in. Set a goal for $100 a day, lock it in, lock it in, lock it in, lock it in. And do that for a couple days. Know that you can lock in $100 every single day. When maybe you can keep on, go into the trading game. If you hit $100, you're allowed to trade again if your trading is on. And if you go up to, you can keep trading as long as the next trade is positive. On your first losing trade, you got to stop, lock it in. And just lock it in so that the next day you will have that profit. You will feel better the next day. And this is if you have a tendency to have losing days, a lot of losing days in a row. When I work with somebody who's have losing day, I got to get them going in a positive direction. I start very slow. Is this for everybody? No. Is it for every high-end trader trading a lot of contracts? No. But if you're losing, to break that pattern, I've got to get you winning in a winning streak. And I don't care if it's $50. You will feel better the next day locking in $50 than losing anything again. And then you lock in more, and maybe by the end of the week you realize that the average that you were making was $500 a day. So you can up your goal to $500 a day and see if you can lock that in every single day. And then all of a sudden now you're building in a positive forward direction, but you've got the momentum going in the opposite direction than where you were. So that's a way of doing that. So setting attainable goals. The word is attainable. Create ones that inspire you and your unique talents. If you have a unique talent in your trading or what you're doing, use those goals and those things that inspire you. Make sure you motivate, make sure they motivate and drive you a must do. A big enough reason why. So when you're setting your goals and changing your focus, make sure it's a must do. I must do this. I must finish my taxes. And what's the big enough why? Because I know that when I finish those taxes, I can finally take a deep breath. And I'm going to treat myself to a big steak dinner and go out with my friends and I'm just going to feel like $1,000,000 because it's off my list. I'm going to feel great because all my files are organized and done, and they're out of my house for last year. And you look and inspire yourself for a must do and what it's going to give you. The ones that will feel great when accomplished. So what will happen? What will feel great when accomplished with your trading goals? Ways to ensure success. Visualize how great it will be when you're done and have accomplished your task, like we were just talking about. Visualize what it's going to be like when you have your trading criteria completely figured out. It's moving perfectly, and you've got things going. And I always tell traders, traders that are still working on their strategy don't quite get this, but the traders who are senior traders, and I say this, they understand. You want to get to boring as quickly as possible. You've got everything in place, your criteria is working, and you're going, ho hum, I know where to enter, ho hum, I know where to exit, ho hum, made my money today, I'm done, that's done. And it's like, ho hum, no big deal. No stress, no nothing, ho hum, and that's it. You're getting to boring as quickly as possible. That's the goal. Pre-commit. When you're looking to ensure your success, pre-commit. Tell somebody publicly or telling others what you'll accomplish. This amplifies the commitment. Tell others. Commit to others of what you're going to do. Create a plan with specific actions. Today I'm going to do this, this, and this, and tomorrow I'm going to do this, this, and this, and Thursday I'm going to do this, this, and this, and Friday I'm going to do this, this, and this. Specific actions that are attainable, that you can check off and do. Don't overwhelm yourself. Make it easy to succeed. You'll feel terrific. Say, I did those 3 things. That was a piece of cake. No problem. Create a plan with specific actions, step by step. Take immediate action on the first step. Once you decide on your plan, take immediate action. This is the biggest problem people have. They don't take immediate action. By immediate, I mean ASAP. As soon as you possibly can, take the first step. That's important and reward yourself and feel good when you complete that. Then go on to the next step. And each day, take a new step, and that becomes your foundations to the new disciplines or the desired outcome. So every step builds on the previous one. It builds and builds and builds and builds, and that builds your strength and your confidence, and it moves you towards the success. Address all obstacles or items blocking you from moving forward. Get creative. Ask for help. Ask for suggestions. Do whatever it takes to keep going. Every step creates momentum. The key is to continuing towards your final goal. Momentum is the key. So taking the first step, going to the second step, going to the third step, one by one by one step a day. If you have a day that didn't work, like say you're trying your diet and you had 3 days, you said you were going to do a shake in the morning, and one day you screwed up and you had pancakes, no big deal. The next day, forgive yourself and go back to the shakes. The next day, let it go. You had one day where you messed up, but you had 3 days in a row that were great. What was great about what I did? I had 3 days in a row that were great, and I had one day that I lost my mind and had pancakes. Okay, go right back to where you started. Adapt and go until. Adapt this go until attitude till your goal is reached. Never give up, and all is possible. If you keep going, and you overcome those little tiny imperfections where you slipped, but you regroup very quickly and you attack again the next day, and you don't fall prey to, oh, I did this again, and just let that take you over, but you attack, say, no, I'm not going there anymore. I'm doing this instead. I'm going to get aggressive today. You know, I didn't have it yesterday, and I had a little bit of aggression today when I was taking my trading, but tomorrow I'm going to show that market. I'm going to show my aggressive because I got my strategy down, and I'm going to be aggressive. Watch my dust. And you get aggressive, you just keep at it. If you fall back a little bit, no problem. Next day, get that energy back again. Get that energy back again. Make it a big enough why you must do it. Why you must do it. Because that's who you are, and that's where you want to be, and that's what your purpose and goal is. Okay, get a big enough reason why. Typical trading procrastinations, moving from sim to live, that's always a big procrastination. Increasing size, contract size. Tracking details of a trade. And I tell traders, are you tracking your trades? No, they hate tracking the trades. But tracking your trades can give you detail on the areas that you need to focus on. So that can help you with your plan. Examining losses. Everybody hates examining losses. Why? They procrastinate on it because they don't want to look at it because it's part of their failure. Your failure is to look at what you did incorrectly to correct it so you don't do it again and lose more money. That's the smart way to do it. That's what experienced good traders attack it right away. They don't let it stay and fester there and repeat it again and again and again. They attack it quickly so it goes away and gets off their plate, and they get to boredom as quickly as possible. Posting in the room. A lot of people will procrastinate to post in the room because they're afraid to look silly or they don't want to be embarrassed or whatever, you know, but they want to post because they had something good to post. Take the step, take the leap, take the leap. Entering on a signal. You see a signal, maybe nobody else is entering on that signal, but you see a signal. You see something in your trading, and that's the time to enter. Enter, see what happens. See what happens. Put a tight stop in. Protect yourself. You are in control. Create a plan. To look at other markets as opportunities. Some traders procrastinate in doing that. Trading opposite others. So you see something happening in the room, but you see something else. Maybe that's what you have to do. Ask questions. So ask questions in the room. They don't want to look silly. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want to look like they're not smart. Asking questions is the smartest thing you could do. It can give you all the answers that you need right away and have a whole bunch of different opinions. Telling your wife about your trading when she asks. Maybe you lie to her about that or procrastinate about what the results are. But maybe a heart-to-heart talk is something that you need because you need her support. Emotional support within your family is important. No tracking of your P&L in general. Maybe you're not doing that. You need to do that. Unexpected exceptions of profits and targets. Unrealistic expectations of profits and targets. You want to have realistic expectations and slowly move forward. Unhonest with self-valuation, things to address. So if you know you have a problem, but you're not being honest in addressing them, the best thing a trader can do is be honest with who they are as a trader and be honest with their evaluation to address themselves. Okay. Okay, I'll take my head out of the sand if you insist, and I'll do my taxes. Okay, and thank you very much for going through procrastination today. I hope you don't procrastinate. I hope you take it and use it to your advantage. I hope the rest of the week is great for you. Maybe we'll get some moves now after this final down move that we started today, and we'll see what happens. And you have a great time trading this evening. And thank you so much, Dawn. And I expect you to be aggressive in your attack of the market and everybody else too. And with that, I will say good night and have a great day. Love you all.